Hey everybody, I'm Jack Reeder with Future Pastimes. I'm one of the designers of Chasm Moritani, the third expansion for the classic Dune board game, the 2019 edition from Gale Force 9. And one of the variants that is in that expansion is something called Homeworlds. And in this video, we're going to dive down on a specific homeworld, and that is Tleilax, which is the homeworld of the Tleilaxu. So the way this works is this is a token that you're going to have out in front of your shield, and you're going to put your reserves here on Tleilax if you are the Tleilaxu in the game, because your reserves, they're not secret number. So that's going to be out in front, and you're going to have an accompanying Homeworld card, which is going to give you a new advantage for as long as you have a certain threshold of reserves on your Homeworld token. And for Tleilaxu, it's having at least 9 of their forces on their homeworld. And so as long as you have at least that threshold, you're going to have this advantage. But once you dip down below 9 forces for the Tleilaxu, you're going to flip this over and you'll lose that advantage and you will gain a disadvantage. Furthermore, players can use their shipping action to ship forces to another faction's homeworld to attack them there and battle them to become an occupier. Or if there are no reserves there, they just become the occupier, and the occupier gets their own advantage as well as an income in the spice collection phase, where they'll get 2 spice from the spice bank. So let's take a look at what these advantages and disadvantages are. So starting with high threshold, if the Tleilaxu have 9 to 20 of their forces on their homeworld, which is how many, they start with 20 at the beginning of the game, but they eventually, through their own shipping actions, or preferably if you're the Tleilaxu through face dancer reveals, you will be moving your forces out. But as long as you have at least 9 there, you have this advantage. When you take free revival, you may send those forces for free from your reserves to any one territory or homeworld, subject to storm and occupancy rules. So that is a big deal. This is a free shipment of, and you have to take free revival. So if you don't have any free revival, you're not getting to send anybody out there, which means that as the Tleilaxu, you are encouraged to go get into some battles very early on so that you have forces in the tanks that you can revive for free. And the Tleilaxu have a free revival of 2. So those 2 forces, 1 or 2 forces, you get to send for free, and it's not a shipment. So you are sending those forces, which means if the Bene Gesserit are in the game, they don't get to send spiritual advisors along. But yeah, you can put them down into any one territory or another player's homeworld, and that's a big deal as well. Now, Tleilaxu cannot call face dancers in a battle on another player's homeworld. They can only do that on the Arrakis game board. Still, it means that they can begin, they could send 2 forces there, and this is during revival, and then during shipment, they could ship more from their reserves into that homeworld or the territory and get into a much bigger battle there. So that is exciting. And of course, the Tleilaxu, they should want to get into battles because it means that not only will their forces likely die, but that's free revival, and they get paid for their own free revival as well. But they want to encourage the other forces to lose, or other factions to lose forces as well, so that they can get that revival as well. That's their income. So war is their business. So this is a good one to have. It's got pretty big impact. It is only 1 or 2 forces, but that's enough. It's insidious. And the Tleilaxu with 1 force can, especially on Arrakis with the face dancer reveal, they can really change their fortune. So once they dip down, they're going to lose that, and then they've got their penalty. And the penalty for them, if they're at 0 to only 8 of their forces in their reserves, if you start the revival phase at low threshold, you do not collect spice when other factions take free revival. So the Tleilaxu will still get paid for their own free revival. How that works is a mystery that they don't want the Powinda to know. And they'll still get paid for reviving leaders and for any faction that pays for revival. So they don't lose all of their income. But the free revival income is a nice couple of spice, upwards of 5 spice in a 6-faction game, if everybody is taking free revival, that they are going to miss. So that is going to put a little bit of a damper on things for them. But as the game goes on, the Tleilaxu are frequently not hurting for spice. They're going to get some spice there. So getting to low threshold, while it can be impactful in some cases, it's not always going to be terrible outcome for them. And it just means that they're going to have to more likely say, hey, look, why don't you get this leader out, and I'll even give you a discount. I'll knock a spice or two off of its strength. So Count Fenring is dead for 4 spice. You can get him out, although it's the Emperor, so you'd be like 7 spice. You can get Count Fenring out. That's usually how that works. Now, if you occupied Tleilax, you've sent your forces to their homeworld, and you've occupying them, your advantage is that the Tleilaxu may not reveal face dancers against the occupier or the occupier's ally. That is a very big deal indeed. The Tleilaxu would be loath to have anybody occupying their homeworld, but that happens. And I've seen it in some games where players were really worried. The Tleilaxu had 3 unrevealed face dancers, and so they were panicking that if they went for the win, it was just going to all come apart because the Tleilaxu would reveal one of those traitor cards. But if you have taken the steps to occupy Tleilax, then you are immune from that, and that is a big deal. So the Tleilaxu, they not only don't necessarily want to go to low threshold, but they definitely don't want to be occupied. Now, to help them out, every faction has a number that they get to automatically add to their battle strength. It's added to the dial, which doesn't mean you're losing more forces. You're just getting that extra boost, and it's going to be a +2. And it's no matter whether they're at high or low threshold, they're getting a 2. So that's their native advantage, their home field advantage for any battles that take place on their home world. Now, they have to have forces there, so there's no battle if there's no Tleilaxu there, and they get their forces back in revival. But the Tleilaxu have a big advantage over all of the other factions when it comes to that. So let's say that you're on Caladan and you're the Atreides, or rather you're not on Caladan. Somebody has occupied Caladan and you want to get them out. At most, you're going to be able to have 3 forces in that battle without the Spacing Guild in the game, because you can't cross-ship from Arrakis or from some other homeworld back to Caladan. The only way you get your forces there is through revival. So they get those 2 for free, and then they have to pay 2 spice to get that all the way up to 3 forces, and then they're battling with 3 with their home field advantage of +2, because they'll still be at low threshold. But the Tleilaxu, they don't have any revival limit. So if they've got the spice, and they could get way more than 3 forces out. If they've got 12 forces in the tanks, they could get all 12 of them out and have a real hootenanny there on Tleilax. So it may be easy to take it, but it will be very difficult to keep it. So that's how that works. That number, by the way, too, that you're adding to your strength, that is also your native losses in case there is a laser gun shield explosion on your homeworld. So the Tleilaxu, if they're in a battle there and there is a laser gun shield explosion, they will only lose 2 of their undialed forces that are on there. So hopefully for them, they'll have more than that so that it's not so egregious. But that's how it works. I love the artwork on that. Purple is my color, as many of you probably already know or have figured out. I love the art on this one. Get the purple nebula, the purple planets, purple moons. It's great. And we'll talk more about the artwork for this expansion altogether with the artists in a future video. But let me know what you think of the Tleilax Homeworld, if you've seen it in action. If you haven't, you can still share your opinions. But I encourage you to give the Homeworlds a try, and then afterwards, let me know what you think of them. If you've played the Tleilaxu or played against them, in either case, let me know what you think of the Homeworlds. Did they leverage it? Has there been any cross-shipping to attack other players' homeworlds? That's what we want to see. Some of that, especially in later in the games, is everyone's forces are either on Arrakis or in the tanks. That's when they're vulnerable to attacks from other factions. So that's it for this one. Thanks, everyone, for watching, and we'll see you again soon.